So alhamdulillah rabbil alameen wa sallallahu wa sallam wa baraka ala ashrafil anbiya wal mursaleen nabiyyina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in wa ba'd. First of all, I want to reiterate and emphasize on how important revision is. Those of you that are memorizing, and most of you are memorizing, the majority, 80%, 90% of you here, if not all of you that are here, you're memorizing, whether you're on Jazamba or in Juz Tabarak, or you've memorized 5 Juz, 10 Juz, 15 Juz. I want you to know how important it is to review on a regular basis. When you enrolled yourself in this program, it wasn't wajib upon you. All right, it wasn't an obligation. It wasn't an obligation. Nobody, if you didn't sign in, or if you didn't enroll in this program, you were not going to get sent for that. All right, memorizing the Quran, memorizing a substantial portion of the Quran, even anything more than what you're going to recite in your salah is a communal obligation. All right, which is called in Islamic legal theory, it's called fard al-kifaya. What that means is, if a group of people in your community do it, you don't have to do it. All right. However, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't do it. You should do it because there's great reward. It's your easiest ticket to Jannah. Memorizing the Quran, acting upon it, and acting upon it doesn't mean that you're perfect, you're infallible, you make no mistakes. No, that's not what that means. That means you're mindful of Allah Azza wa Jal. You are constantly worrying about or concerned about obeying Allah Azza wa Jal. That doesn't mean you're not gonna fall into sin. You are from time to time, but you get right back up. But there are people in the world that don't. They don't have taqwa. They don't care about obeying or disobeying Allah Azza wa Jal. All right. So anyway, the point is, if you enroll in this program and now you've taken upon yourself to memorize the Quran, whether it's a juz or 2 juz, once you've memorized that 1 juz or 2 juz, forgetting that is a sin. All right. And not reviewing that is a sin. You have to review it. You have to review it. And it's not that difficult. And we've talked about the blessings of the Quran. Wallahi, 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 wa billahi wa tallahi. If you only knew how much or how many blessings the Quran brings to your life, in terms of your health, in terms of your wealth, your mental health. Even if you don't understand it, it's Allah's words. Yes, you don't understand. Most of you don't understand what you're memorizing. That's fine. But connecting to the Quran, establishing a relationship with the Quran is of different levels. All right. This is the first level. All right, and that is to learn how to read it, to pronounce it beautifully, to read it melodiously, to read it in a nice tone, to memorize, a good portion of it, a substantial portion of the Quran. Right. So it's very, very important that you develop a habit of revision from now. And a lot of you, like I said, are in Juz Amma. Reviewing 5 pages, wallahi, literally will take 5 minutes. Literally. All right. Literally, it'll take 5 minutes, no more. All right. Do it until it becomes a habit. And once it becomes a habit, just like bad habits or good habits, you can't get rid of bad habits. Some of you have a bad habit of playing every day, 6 hours on PlayStation. It's a bad habit. It's not good for you. It's not good for your brain. It's not good for your body. It's not good for your soul. It's a bad habit. Some of you bite your nails. It's a bad habit. Some other people, adults, they've developed a bad habit of smoking. It's a bad habit. It's not good. But because they've doing it, they've been doing it for so long, now it's become a habit, and it's difficult to get rid of that. It's not impossible, it's difficult. Obviously, this is a good habit. Once you develop a good habit, of revision, khalas, for the rest of your life. And that's the whole point. The whole point is to get you connected to the Quran. Inshallah ta'ala, you're going to be Muslims as if you are not an adult, if you're a child, as you get into adulthood and adolescence, you're going to be glad that you have a relationship with the Quran. Life is difficult. Your parents are not always going to be there. People are not going to be always, people that watch out for you right now, they're not going to always be there. But if you have a relationship with Allah, you have a relationship with the Quran, as Allah mentions, whoever is cognizant, whoever is mindful of Allah, Allah's going to make things easy for him. Allah doesn't break his promise. وَمَن يَتَّقِ اللَّهَ يَجْعَل لَهُ مَخْرَجًا. Whoever is mindful of Allah, Allah is going to find out, He's going to get him out of every difficulty. And وَيَرْزُقْهُ مِنْ حَيْثُ لَا يَحْتَسِبُ. And He's going to give him provision. He's going to provide for him from ways he never expected, he never anticipated. All right. So again, please make sure you review on a regular basis. You have a juz memorized, you have to review five pages a day, up to 2 juz. If you memorize 2.5 juz, up to 5 juz, you have to review 10 pages. You have to do it. You have to do it. Initially, it's difficult. I find a partner. Alhamdulillah, one of the reasons alhamdulillah, one of the benefits of being enrolled in this program is that you have friends, you have classmates. They're doing the same thing, and they're around your age. Call them, call their parents. Say, listen, so and so, I want to review with you. And in those friendships, wallahi, those are the best friendships. All right, people have different friendships for different reasons. The best friendships are those that are for the sake of Allah. That are forged for the sake of Allah. Every friendship that I've had, wallahi, and I'm not exaggerating, that was because of for the sake of Allah. That was because, hey, he's my teacher, he's my sheikh, he's helping me learn Arabic. Or those, no matter what, even if 20 years, 30 years go by, I don't even see them. You're making dua for those guys. May Allah bless them. All my teachers, wallahi, I love them to death. My Quran teachers, those that have taught me Arabic, because I benefited so much. The things that they've taught me, I would never be able to pay them back for that. Invaluable. So the friends that help you to review with, you review with them, you help them out, they help you out. Allah says in the Quran, in Surah Al-Ma'idah, وَتَعَاوَنُوا عَلَى الْبِرِّ وَالتَّقْوَى, and help each other in birr and taqwa, in good things, and helping each other and staying away from bad things. So again, 1 juz, 5 pages, up to 2.5 juz, 5 juz, 10 pages a day. 5 juz, you want to do a juz a day. I also sent, and then if it's from 5 to 10, once you get to 10 juz, then you want to do a juz and a half. All right. Anyway, Sheikh Imran, he sent the thing. I think I sent it to the WhatsApp group as well. I'll send it again. He also mentioned it in the first the first session of this course. All right. Very, very important. Wallahi. And another thing is, if I could repeat it every time, I would, and I am going to repeat it. Inshallah ta'ala, those of you that are members of the Quran, inshallah ta'ala, after Ramadan, we'll have a test. We're going to divide students into different categories. Qaida students, those that are not going to memorize, those that need to work on their tajweed and recitation. And then we're going to have those that are memorizing. Those that are memorizing, they're going to have to sign a paper that promising that they're going to review. If they can't do that, then all right, you don't need to be in the program. All right, khalas, just read the Quran by looking. But if you're not, because there's no point of memorizing and forgetting. And some of you, adults as well, you memorize. I don't know. Just some of you think that memorizing, that's it. You just memorize and that's it, and you just finish the Quran, and you don't have to review, and you're just going to retain it. No, it doesn't work like that. All right, it's going to be a night. You can memorize 5 juz without having a a habit of revision. But after that, it gets difficult. Once you get to 10 juz, 15 juz, if you don't have a habit of revision, you've not established that habit, you've not developed that habit, it's a nightmare. You're not going to be able to review them. It's going to be very difficult to do that. I mean, you can do it, but it's going to be that much more difficult. So try to develop a habit right now. It's going to be easy, very easy for you to develop it right now. Ask Allah to aid you. And take it seriously. And inshallah ta'ala, if you do, then you're going to end up like Imran, inshallah ta'ala. You're going to end up like Sulaiman. You're going to end up like Hamid. All these students, and other students that memorize a substantial portion, you can test them. And mashallah, they've retained it. All right. And then that's going to give you confidence as well. When you memorize 5 juz and you have it down, it's going to give you confidence. When you memorize 10 juz, you have it down, it gives you confidence. Like, okay, I've done 10 juz. That's 1/3 of the Quran. All right, I got 2/3 left, and I'm going to be able to do it. So take that very, 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 very seriously. And like I said, memorize the Quran and then forget this. You don't want to do that. And the Quran is a gem. And we can talk about, inshallah, from time to time. I know this is not the session for that, but I wanted to bring this up because it's important. It's very, wallahi, it's very important, very important. Last thing before Sheikh Imran starts, I sent that link to the WhatsApp groups All right. If you're on there, if you're not on there, if you're a kid, your parents have access to it, tell them to share it with you. So it's a playlist of Sheikh Ahmed Diban. Sheikh Ahmed Diban is reciting the entire Quran in about 7.5 hours. All right. And it's the playlist that I sent you is broken up into surahs. All right. So you can listen to each individual surah. Most of you, like I said, are going to be Jazama just Tabarak. All right. What I would recommend, those of you that have memorized Jazama and just Tabarak, whatever you've memorized, if it's just 2 juz, listen to the whole thing every day. All right. The playback speed, go to settings, put it to 1.5. Put it to 1.5. Say you have Jazama and just Tabarak memorized. Every day, 5 days a week, listen to that. Every day. That 2 juz is going to take you approximately 15 minutes. Well, 15 to 16 minutes, no more. All right, you're going to change the playback speed to 1.5. The speed is going to be 1.5. All right. If you do it faster than that, you might not be able to, especially the last 5 juz, it goes fast. If you're doing the first 5, those of you that memorized from the beginning, then you can double up the speed. But for the last 5, he's already going fast. So if you try to speed it up more than that, you'll be lost. But 1.5 is perfect. If you're having trouble with 1.5, then you can just leave it at the normal speed because you're still going fast. But I think 1.5 you'll be able to handle if you've memorized, those 2 juz. All right. So whatever you've memorized, if you have 2 juz, those last 2 juz, or either just 29 or 30 or both of them, listen to that every day, 5 days a week. All right, like I said, it's not going to take more than 15 minutes. What is that going to do? That's going to strengthen your memory. That's going to enhance your ability. I'm not making this stuff up. This stuff is real. They've done studies on this stuff. This is very, very this is very real. Like you'll see the effect of it on your brain. It's going to revive and resuscitate dead cells or inactive cells in your brain. All right, it's going to help you to so it's going to improve your memory. It's going to wake up those dead cells or those inactive cells in your brain. It's going to enhance your skill of memorizing via listening. A lot of you are memorizing by looking. Well, there's also a skill called memorizing the Quran through listening. All right, and that's important. It's a nice skill to have. It's a nice skill to have to memorize by listening. All right, so you're developing that. You're developing that skill as well, and like I said, it's going to also improve your memory. And last but not least, you're reviewing everything you've memorized in a very short amount of time. 15 minutes. What is 15 minutes? It's nothing. We waste 15 minutes on everything else. All right, and obviously the barakah of the Quran. So do that every single day. Don't take it lightly. And I'm telling you, this stuff you're not going to hear. The stuff that I'm giving you, you're not going to hear. This is not taught in your ordinary, regular hifz school. Most of the traditional hifz school, they're not going to teach you stuff like this. So, you'd be hard pressed to find these tips in a regular, ordinary school. They like I said, most of them are not going to teach you, these kind of things because they're not, it's not traditional. Traditionally, they'll tell you just review out loud and this, and but alhamdulillah, Allah Azza wa Jalla blessed me to pick these up, and I'm sharing it with you. My job as a teacher to pass it on. Now your job is to implement it. If you don't implement it, you're not doing your job. There's a symbiotic relationship, meaning a two-way relationship. I do my job, you do your job. My job is to do what I'm doing, guide you. Hey, do this. Hey, do that. Now you got to do it. I can't play. I'm the coach. I run the place for you. Now you have to go. You have to execute this place. You have to do what I tell you to do. And basically, like you do that, you're gonna find the fruit. You're gonna reap the fruit, inshallah ta'ala. All right. So make sure everybody don't, and it's fun too. SubhanAllah, it's fun. You listen to it and you feel it. You feel, SubhanAllah, you're focused. You're so focused during those, because you can't during those 15 minutes. Your brain is on it's on beast mode or super mode, and so it's very focused. So like I said, it's going to improve your concentration. A lot of you, I see you in class, and you're sitting there, you're not focused. I can name names, but I won't name any names here. All right. I don't want to embarrass anybody, but you know who you are. You come to class and you're not focused. You're playing, with whatever, twiddling your thumbs, this and that. You look it up to this. You're not focused. All right. So this is gonna help you to focus. This is going to help you to have a better concentration. You'll be able to concentrate better, and inshallah ta'ala you'll be able to memorize quicker. I see somebody wrote a message, just wondering out of curiosity, this may be a bad question, but why is it simple to forget Well, there are a number of hadiths. Obviously, in Islam, when we, when you get a sin for something, it's not from us. It's from Allah Azza wa Jal, or the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. The thing is, yeah, you Allah blessed you to have his words in your heart, and then especially if it's out of negligence. All right, it's out of negligence. Allah bless having the Quran in your heart is a great blessing. Those words of Allah Azza wa Jal, and then you turn away, you turn your back away to that blessing. It's an abandon. It's a form of abandoning the Quran. It's hujran al-Quran, and abandoning the Quran is of different types. All right, different types. One is not reading it, and the other one is Allah's blessed you to memorize it, and then you don't review it and you turn away from it. That's abandoning the Quran. And in Surah Al-Furqan, the messenger said, وَقَالَ الرَّسُولُ يَا رَبِّ إِنَّ قَوْمِ اتَّخَذُوا هَذَا الْقُرْآنَ مَهْجُورًا. All right, and that verse is just in the context of what you might call it. It has a negative connotation to it. All right. So the messenger, the meaning of the verse is وَقَالَ رَسُولُ, and the messenger said, Ya Rabbi, O my Lord, إِنَّ قَوْمِ اتَّخَذُوا هَذَا الْقُرْآنَ مَهْجُورًا. Indeed, my people have abandoned the Quran. So in a way, it's an abandonment of the Quran. You're rejecting the Quran. You're turning away from it. All right. Just like not praying is a sin. A person, why is not praying a sin? It's a sin. Allah told you to pray, and obviously there are numerous benefits in praying. Numerous benefits for your body and for your soul. Same thing with Quran. You decided to memorize the Quran, and alhamdulillah, there's benefits to doing that, and then if you turn away and you abandon it, then there's sin for that. All right, you're going to get sin for that, and it's subhanallah, it's a niqmah, the opposite of a blessing. Blessing is a ni'mah, the opposite of it is a niqmah, and we ask Allah Azza wa Jal to protect us from that and not make us of those that abandon the Quran. All right, and so having the Quran, like I said, it's Allah Azza wa Jal doesn't give it to anybody. He gives it to one that he chooses. It really is a blessing. I mean, those are the statements of the Prophet ﷺ. So the Quran is a treasure. If you knew what the Quran, if you truly knew what the Quran was, you would not. There's no way you would abandon it. No way in the world. Someone came, Bill Gates came to you and said, listen, man, leave this Quran, give you billions. You wouldn't do it. Wallahi, if he came to me right now and said, I'm going to give you all billions, some of you might think I'm stupid. All right. No, he can keep his billions. I'd rather have the tranquility that I feel, having the Quran part of your life every day. Allah bi dhikrillahi tatma'innul qulub. Indeed, by the remembrance of remembrance of Allah, the hearts attain tranquility. No, I wouldn't even. It's not even something you have. Some things are difficult decisions. You would I need to think about it and make istikhara. I don't need to make istikhara. You made it. Nah, keep your billions. I got the Quran. وَأَغْنَى غَنَاءٍ وَاهِبًا مُتَفَضِّلًا, as Imam al-Shatibi mentions. All right. وَإِنَّ كِتَابَ اللَّهِ أَوْثَقُ شَافِعٍ. All right. Its intercession will not be rejected on the day of judgment. وَأَغْنَى غَنَاءٍ, meaning if you have the Quran, you don't need anything else. Everything else, khalas, you got the Quran. And I tell parents, this is the best thing that you can give your parents. Wallahi, when you grow up, and those of you have parents that are paying for your classes and bringing you, wallahi, they've done a million things for you. The thing that you're going to thank them the most for is thank you for putting me in Quran class. All right. Right now, you don't understand it, but you're going to understand it later on. And I was the same way. When I was younger, my older brother would push me and encourage me to memorize the Quran. Alhamdulillah, Allah put the love in the Quran at a young age, but still that encouragement helped, and I'm glad. Make du'as for him to this day, and he'll always have a special heart, a special place in my heart, because now I see the value of the Quran. I see the effect of it on my soul and on my body, and inshallah in this life and in the hereafter. So hopefully that answers your question. Whoever asked that question. Barakallah fikum. So anyway, so make sure you start that listening to the that's called Qira'ah Zamzama. That's what it's called. All right, Qira'ah Zamzama. So make sure it's a fast reading, and that's going to really, really help you And you won't struggle, especially those of you that are struggling with revision, because you're reviewing slowly. Khalas, that's going to speed it up for you. All right. And that's going to really take your revision to the next level. It's 15 minutes. Imagine doing 2 juz in 15 minutes. Like yesterday, I was able to do 5 juz in 40 minutes. 5 juz in 40 minutes just by listening to them. And my kids did it too. All right. And those of you that are preparing for the 5 juz competition next Saturday, all right, I recommend, and I'm having my kids do the same every day. All right. For the next week, listen to those 5 juz. And it's going to take you 40 minutes. Speed it up to time and a half, and you're done in 40 minutes. And you're going to, next Saturday is going to come, and you're going to be like, wow, this made a huge difference. All right. I don't want to take up any more of your time. I'm going to let Sheikh Imran take over, unless you have any questions about what I've mentioned. If you have any questions, tafaddal, or tafaddal. If not, then Sheikh Imran is going to take over. All right, Sheikh Imran, tafaddal. Let me make you a co-host. I don't see your name here. Oh, there you are.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين اللهم لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم اللهم لا سهل إلا ما جعلته سهلا وأنت تجعل الحزن إذا شئت سهلا. Welcome everyone to week 3 of Tajweed 101 course of Qari. And this week we're going to first review everything we covered in the second week, and we'll be going over med. So we'll talk about what is med, the letters of med, what are the types of med asli and mudud similar to it. All right. So firstly, we'll review what we did last week, and I have a few questions. So the first question, and I want you guys to, you can unmute your mic or you can answer it in the chat. How many phrases of isti'adha are there and what are they? Does anyone want to start? So I'm not talking about the ways to connect isti'adha. I'm talking about the phrases of isti'adha. Someone said four phrases of isti'adha. All right, someone tell me the first one. What is it? Or one of them, one of the phrases.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم.
All right, good. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. And that's the most common one, right? And that is actually the preferred one. There's 3 other ways. Someone tell me one of the other ways. Does anyone remember?
Ways
to read isti'adha. There are 4 ways. So أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. That's the first one. What are the other 3? Does anyone remember?
I remember a little, like half of it. أعوذ بالله من السميع الله من الشيطان الرجيم.
You said it wrong. أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم. All right, that's the second one. أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم. All right, anyone know the third one? There's 2 more. We mentioned all of this last week.
أعوذ بالله.
Go ahead.
أعوذ بالله العظيم من الشيطان الرجيم.
أعوذ بالله العظيم من الشيطان الرجيم. Good. And there's one more. Does anyone know?
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان. Good. So those are the 4 ways that you can read isti'adha. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم. أعوذ بالله العظيم من الشيطان الرجيم. And أعوذ بالله من الشيطان. All right, good. What is the rule of meme or noon with a shadda? What's the rule? What do we do if a meme or noon has a shadda?
You do gunna for 2 vowel counts.
Good. So if a meme or a noon has a shadda, for example, thumma, the meme there has a shadda, so you hold it for 2 counts. Thumma. So you wouldn't say thumma, that's wrong. Thumma. All right, good. What about and a noon with a shadda, for example? Inna. All right, you're gonna hold the noon. Don't say inna. It's common with a lot of students. They'll say inna or innama or anna, but you have to hold the noon. Inna. All right, good. All right, what is a meme sakin? Simple question. Does anyone know what a meme sakin is?
Me with the sukoon.
All right, good. So a meme
Me
sakin,
with nothing on it.
yeah. Sometimes it'll have nothing on it in the Quran, but it actually has a sukoon. That's just the way it's written. So it's a meme with a sukoon. All right, good. So how many rules of meme sakin are there and what are they? So let's answer the first one. How many rules of meme sakin are there? Does anyone remember?
3.
3. Good. There's 3 rules of meme sakin. And what are they?
You repeat that?
What are the rules? What are they called? So you said there's 3 rules. Hold on. So someone said ikhfa al-shafawi. Okay, that's one of them. Someone tell me the other 2. There's 2 more. Idhar, idgham, and I think they meant ikhfa. All right, good. So there's ikhfa al-shafawi, idhar al-shafawi to be more specific, and then idgham al-saghir. All right, good. The rules of meme sakin. What does each rule mean and what are the letters? So we'll start with ikhfa al-shafawi. All right, that was the first rule we mentioned. So what does ikhfa al-shafawi mean and what are its letters? Or letter, if there's only one. Good. Hide the meme sound. And the letter is ba. All right, so the letter of ikhfa al-shafawi is ba. So if there's a meme with a sukoon and the next letter is a ba, you're gonna do ikhfa al-shafawi. So you're gonna put a small gap between your lips, right? And you would do ghunna for 2 vowel counts. All right. كلبهم باسط كلبهم. All right. The next one, إظهار الشفوي. What does إظهار mean? And what are the letters of إظهار from الشفوي for meme sakin? Does anyone know? We covered all of this last week, so everyone should be like answering. All right, good. All of the letters that are not meme and ba. So yeah, it means you're gonna pronounce the meme clearly. All right. For example, لعلهم لعلهم يرشدون. So you don't say لعلهم, you don't hold it, you pronounce it clearly. لعلهم لعلهم. All right, good. And the last one we said was إدغام الصغير. What does إدغام mean? And what are its letters?
To mix or put one thing into another.
To merge. Good. And what's the letter of إدغام for الشفوي or إدغام الصغير? Only meme. All right, good. So the rules for meme sakin are very simple. So there's only one letter for idgham. So that means if there is a meme after a meme sakin, you're gonna do idgham, you hold it. All right. And now we have 3 examples here. ربهم بهم لعلهم يتقون كنتم مؤمنين. And I'll do the same thing. I'll give you guys 1 minute or 2 minutes to answer the questions. So tell me, number 1, is it idghar, is it idgham, or is it ikhfa? Number 2, is it ikhfa, idgham, or idghar? And number 3, the same thing. All right, so I'll give you guys 1 minute. You can just text it to me in the private message me in the Zoom chat. I'll give you guys 1 minute. Go ahead. So the choices are إظهار, إخفاء, and إدغام. For those of you that are confused, I'll give you a hint. Look at the letter after the meme second. All right, look at the letter after the meme with the sukoon. What is the letter? That is going to give you your answer.
Can you repeat that?
So to find out the answer, you have to look at the letter after the meme with the sukoon. So rabbahum, the meme with the sukoon is rabbahum, the last letter, the meme. Look at the letter after it. What is the letter after? And is it a letter of idhar? Is it a letter of ikhfa? Or is it a letter of idgham? All right, depending which letter it is going to be that rule. All right, so same thing. La'allahum, the meme with the sukoon. Look at the letter after it. Is that letter a letter of idhar, idgham, or ikhfa? And same thing, kuntum mu'minin. After the meme with the sukoon, kuntum, what's the next letter? Is that letter a letter of idhar, ikhfa, or idgham? You got it?
Me.
I'm a little concerned some people are getting these wrong. So we might have to spend a little bit more time on this. I'll give everyone a few 30 more seconds to answer. All right. I only got messages from a few people, but that's okay. All right. The first rule, the correct answer is ikhfa al-shafawi. All right. Some people, they said idhar. 2 people said idhar. It is not idhar. The letter after the meme with the sukoon is ba. We said ba is a letter of ikhfa. All right. So you have to hold it, right? You're gonna do ghanna and you're gonna put a small gap between your lips. So you won't say rabbahum. That would be idhar, pronouncing it clearly. You're gonna say rabbahum bihim. So it's gonna be ikhfa al-shafawi. Right, the second one, some people said idgham. I don't know. Some people said ikhfa. The correct answer is idhar. Idhar. All right, why is it idhar? Idhar means to pronounce clearly. The next letter after the meme second is a ya. Ya is a letter of idhar for meme second. Don't mix up. So maybe some of you guys are mixing up the letters of idhar of meme second with the letters of idhar of noon second. So they're different letters. So we're not talking about noon second anymore. Right? We're talking about meme second. So the letters of idhar for meme second are completely different than noon second. Remember noon second for idhar we said hamza ha ayn ha ghain kha. Right? We're not dealing with noon second or tanween anymore. So we're dealing with meme second. So after is a ya. Ya is a letter of idhar al-shafawi for meme second. All right, so you're gonna say لعلهم يتقون. You're not gonna hold the meme. You're gonna pronounce it clearly. لعلهم يتقون. All right, you're not merging it and you're not hiding it. And the last example, كنتم مؤمنين. You're gonna merge the 2 memes, right? Meme is a letter of idgham. It's the only letter of idgham for meme second. All right, so you say كنتم مؤمنين. مؤمنين. You hold it. All right, good. Is there any questions on this before we go on to this week? Any questions on the examples? Does everyone
Sheikh,
Could
understand?
you
question.
could you
Go
just say
ahead.
the answers again?
So the first one's Shafawi, second one is Izhar al-Shafawi, and third one is Idgham. You got it? Was there another
Yes,
question?
alhamdulillah.
You understand why, Farouk?
Yeah, so for the first one, it's you're hiding it, so it's ikhfa.
Uh-huh.
And then the second one, you're pronouncing it clearly, so it's idhar.
Yeah.
And then the other one, you're connecting it, so it's idgham.
Yeah, exactly. What you want to do is you just want to look at the letter after the meme second, right? You just look at the letter after the meme second, that'll give you your answer. Someone asked, in the kuntum, the noon, do we use ghunna there too? All right. So this is a rule of noon second and tanween. So someone asked for kuntum, right? Do we say kuntum or do we say kuntum? Who can answer that question? Okay, and do you know why? What's the rule there? So there's a noon sakin, kun, and the next letter is ta. So think back to noon sakin and tanween. The letter ta is the letter of which rule? All right, someone DM me the right answer, but I won't say it out loud right now. Does anyone know?
Ikhfa.
Ikhfa, good. For noon sakin. Remember that ta is a letter of ikhfa for noon sakin. So you're going to hide the noon sound. You won't say kun. That would be idhar, which is wrong. You say kuntum, kuntum. So yeah, you do ghunna there. You do ikhfa and you do ghunna. All right. Any other questions on this? All right, we'll move on to, I think. All right, we'll go on to the next slide.
Sheikh, someone asked a question in chat.
For Idhar al-Shafawi, Shafawi means using lips. Since it's Idhar, which is to show, and does not have ghunna, why is it Shafawi? So you're still using your lips. Anything from meme sakin, you're using your lips, right? Because there's a meme there. So that's why they call it Shafawi. So Rabb, la'allahum, you're still using your lips to pronounce the meme. So they call it Shafawi. Okay. I hope that answers that question. So this week we're going to be talking about med. All right. So med is the singular. The plural of the word med is mudud. All right. So if I ever say the word mudud, that just means multiple meds. That's the plural of med. So don't get confused by that. What is a med? Right? What does med mean? The med definition linguistically it means increasing and lengthening. Right. But technically, when we're speaking about tajweed, what does med mean? It means the lengthening of the pronunciation of the letters of med. All right, so we said letters of med. We didn't cover what that is yet. I'll explain in the next slide. But basically, a med is lengthening or extending, right? You're going to prolong certain letters. All right, and we'll talk about in the next slide. The letters of med. There are 3 letters of med. Alif, waw, and ya. All right. These are the only letters that you can extend in the Arabic language. All right. So if you extend an alif, someone tell me what sound does it make if you extend an alif? Think about it. If you extend an alif, what sound does an alif make basically? Right? Alif makes good. Or a wow, if you extend wow, what sound does it make?
Ooh.
Ooh. All right, good. And yeah, what sound does it make if you extend it?
Yee.
Again, say it again.
Yee.
Not ye. So you're partly correct. You're mixing it up a little.
Yeah.
It's not ye, it'll just be e. It'll make an e sound. I mean, it depends what the letter before it is, but the ya makes an e sound. So alif makes an a sound. Wow, if you extend it, makes a oo. And the ya, if you extend it, makes E. All right, so these are the 3 med letters. These are the only letters you can extend. Think of any other letter, you can't extend it. All right, if you try to extend ba, it'll just be you can't really extend it. So these are the 3 letters that you can extend. They're the only letters of med. All right. So remember these letters, memorize them. Alif, waw, and ya. All right. There are 2 main types of med. All right. 2 main types. There's med asli, and there's another name for it called med tabi'i. All right, if you look at the chart, med asli, med tabi'i. It's one med. All right, it's called the original or natural med. So med asli would be the original med. Med tabi'i would be the natural med. Okay, so that is the first type of med. The second main type of med is med al-far'i. All right, and this is the secondary med. All right, so we're going to go in depth on what these mean, but just know that there are 2 main types of med. Med asli or med tabi'i, and med far'i. So again, asli is original or natural, and med far'i is a secondary med. All right, so med tabi'i or asli, original or natural med. What is this med? All right, first thing to note, this med is going to be 2 vowel counts long, 2 harakat. Right, sometimes you might hear me say in class, right? It's going to be 2 vowel counts or 4 vowel counts, right? What is a vowel count? It's a haraka. So 1 haraka would just be the length of a fatha, dhamma, or kasra. So for example, a ba with a fatha would make ba. That's 1 haraka. All right. A ba with the alif is 2 harakas. So it would be ba. All right, but 1 haraka is just a fatha or a dhamma or a kasra. So ba is 1 haraka, ba is 2 harakat. It's going to be about 1 second. Ba. So if we say 2 vowel counts or 2 harakat, it's basically 1 second long. All right. So med asli or med tabi'i, this med is going to be 2 vowel counts. So don't make this med longer than 2 counts. All right. Don't say ba. That's wrong. And I'm going to explain the conditions of the med. All right, so there's 3 main conditions for any med. This is not just for med tabi'i, this is for any med. Is that there's the alif, which is always sakina. So alif always has a sukoon. All right, alif can never have a fatha, a dhamma, or a kasra. Sometimes students mix up hamza with alif. Right, hamza is not an alif, and if there's a letter that looks like an alif and it has a fatha, a dhamma, or a kasra, it's a hamza. Right, so you'll see a little hamza on top of the alif or under it. In that case, you're not pronouncing the alif, you're pronouncing the hamza. The hamza is the thing that has the haraka. So alif cannot take a haraka, it cannot take a fatha, cannot take a dhamma, and it cannot take a kasra. That's very important to understand. So alif always has sukoon, it's always sakina. And whenever you see alif written, you usually see nothing on it, right? That means it's the med, it's not a hamza. All right, so the alif, which is always sakina, must be preceded by a fatha. All right, so alif, and alif is always actually preceded by a fatha. I don't think there's, it cannot be preceded by another letter. So if there's ever an alif, it's preceded by a fatha, is going to be a med. It's going to be med asli. For example, we see here the word ma. Right, if we look at the 4th example in the 1st row, ma. Right, there's a fatha, and after there's an alif. So there's an alif and it's preceded by fatha. So that would be med asli is going to be 2 counts. It's just going to be ma. So you're not going to say ma, right? And you won't say ma. You won't extend it more than 2. It's just going to be ma. Simple. All right, the next rule, waw sakina. So waw with a sukoon. So the waw has to have a sukoon. So these med letters we mentioned, alif, waw, and ya. For them to be considered med, they have to have a sukoon. So sometimes you might see the letter waw with a dhamma or a fatha or kasra. Right? In that case, it's not a med. For it to be a med, it has to have a sukoon first of all. And for the waw, it has to be preceded by a dhamma. All right, the waw has to be preceded by a dhamma. Let me see if there's an example on. I can't find an example here. Wama umiru. All right, umiru, if it's just the word umiru, the waw is preceded by a dhamma. So it would be umiru. أمروا. All right. The next example, a ya sakina. So again, the ya has to have a sukoon, and it must be preceded by a kasra. All right, ibadi, ibadi. So the dal there has a kasra. There's a ya with a sukoon, it's preceded by a kasra. So it will just be 2 counts. So you can't say ya ibadi. It's wrong. Ya ibadi. Just 2 counts. All right. So alif has to be preceded by its respective haraka, which is the fatha. Waw, it has to be preceded by its respective haraka, which is a dhamma. And ya has to be preceded by its respective haraka, which is a kasra. And there's 4 additional conditions that I'll mention, right? And it's basically that there can be, I'm going to put the first 2 together. There can be no hamza before or after the letter of mad. All right, so there cannot be a hamza before. And look at the example. You see there's a hamza. That is not an alif. So there's a hamza, and after it, there's a ya. So this is not mad asli or tabi'i because there's a hamza before it. So if there is a ya with a sukoon, and the letter before has a kasra, but it has a hamza before it too, it is not going to be med asli. This is a different kind of med that we'll cover later. So this would be iman, right? But it's not med asli because there's a hamza before it. If there's any questions, just ask while I'm explaining, that's fine. So no hamza after the letter of med is the second condition. So there can be no hamza before, like in iman, or no hamza after, ja'aka. So this would be a different med. This is not considered med asli anymore. The hamza changes it to another med. All right. So the word ja, just the word ja, that would be med asli. But now we're adding a hamza after it. Now it becomes a different med. So again, there can be no med, or there can be no hamza before the med letter or after it. All right. The next condition, there can be no sukoon after the letter of med. So al-alameen, the ya here is a letter of med, and the letter before has a kasra. I didn't write it, but the meme has a kasra. Alami. But there is a letter after that has sukoon. That breaks the condition. So there cannot be a sukoon after the letter of med. So this would not be med asli. Al-alameen. So that would not be med asli anymore. It's again, like I mentioned, these are all different types of meds that we'll cover in the next lesson. And the last condition, there should be no shadda after the letter of med. So look at here, ad-dallin. There's the alif here. Alif is a letter of med, but the next letter has a shadda. So because the next letter has a shadda, it is no longer med asli or tabi'i. It's not going to be 2 counts. It wouldn't be ad-dallin. That's wrong. So it's a different type of med that we'll cover in the next lesson. So again, these are the first 3 main conditions are for any med, right? It has to have alif sakina has to be preceded by a fatha, waw sakina must be preceded by a dhamma, and the ya sakina must be preceded by kasra. Right? That's the definition of med. But for med asli, it has 4 additional conditions, right? No hamza before or after, no sukoon after, and no shadda after. Right? Memorize these conditions. And here on the right, we have some examples of med asli. So hawiyah. So someone tell me, what's the med letter in this word, hawiyah? What is the med letter? Does anyone know?
Alif.
Alif, good. So there's an alif and it's preceded by a fatha. So that meets the condition that is going to be a med. And after it, there is a waw with a kasra. Does that break any of these additional conditions? Right? Is there a hamza after it, or is there a hamza before? No. Is there sukoon after it? No. Is there shadda after it? No. So then it will be med asli. All right, so this would just be 2 counts. Hawiyah. So when you're reading, وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ, what was that? Hawiyah, whatever the beginning of the ayah is. فَأُمُّهُ هَاوِيَةٌ, that's the ayah. All right, so you're not going to say فَأُمُّهُ هَاوِيَةٌ. That's wrong. It's just going to be 2 counts. Hawiyah. Right, because it is med asli, it's the natural med, just 2 counts. All right, the next example, fala. Fala. What's the med letter in this?
Alif.
Alif. Good. And the letter before has a fatha, so it meets that condition. right? And does it break any of the other conditions? Is there hamza before or after? No. Is there a sukoon after? No. Is there a shadda after? No. All right. So it's just fala. Right? There's nothing after it, so it would be med asli. All right. So you just say fala. So you're not gonna say fala, right? But I will note this can change from med asli to another med if depending on what's after it. So for example, if there was a hamza after it that came after it, depending on where this came in the Quran, for example, there's an ayah in Surah Waqi'ah, فَلَا أُقْسِمُ فَلَا أُقْسِمُ. So the next letter after it would be a hamza. So that would change it. It would not be med asli anymore because there's a hamza after the med letter. Okay. The next one, inna shani'aka. Shani'aka, the med letter. I think all the med letters in here are alif, which is kind of unfortunate. But the med letter is alif preceded by fatha, so it meets that condition. Does it break any of the other conditions? Is there a hamza before or after? No. Is there a sukoon after? No. Is there a shadda after? No. Right, so it will just be two vowel counts. Shani'aka, shani'aka. So don't say shani'aka. All right, ma. All right, there's a alif with a fatha before. And I'll go through all these examples a little quicker. غاسق إذا لنا. So notice I'm not making anything longer than two counts. I'm not saying غاسق, wrong. I'm not saying إذا. I'm not saying لنا, that's wrong. لنا إذا بحجارة, حجا, ja, the med letter is right there. ماله ما حاسد طعام نارا كان أبابيل عابد لسانا ليال خاطئة. So again, not ليال, not خاطئة, not فآوى, not راضية. That's wrong. So I'm just making it two counts. خاطئة, فآوى, راضية. All right, is there any questions on med asli? Any questions? Does everyone understand? Can someone think of an example? I'm gonna ask a question. Think of something you've memorized or something from the Quran. Think of an example where there's med asli with a ya. And think of where there's med asli with a dhamma, or with a wow, sorry. So find one with a ya and find one with a wow. I'll give you guys a little bit of time. But try to find something from the Quran. So where there's a med with a wow and where there's a med with a ya.
Can you repeat that?
Find a med asli. So all of these examples here, they're with an alif. There's a med with the alif. The med letter is alif. So find an example of med asli where the med letter is the wow or a ya. All right.
What
So
about
where the
the
med letter
word
is a
junood?
wow.
Yeah.
Right?
Shaniaka?
1 second. Go ahead. Someone said something.
What about the word junood?
Junood.
Yes.
So, okay, that's a wow, right?
Yes.
But look at the conditions. No sukoon after letter of mad. Junood has a sukoon. But for example, if it was junoodun, right? Let's say you were continuing or something, you weren't stopping, and it didn't have a sukoon. If it had anything else, then yes, that would be an example with it would be an example of mad asli with waw sakina. Good. Junoodun. Excellent. وقالوا ما لنا قالوا, right? That's a dhamma. That's a wow. قالوا.
What about waruhu?
والروح. Good. روح, right? There's a wow preceded by a dhamma.
What about wal mushrikina?
Someone said الذي يؤتي. Good. الذي, that's a yeah. What'd you say, Yusuf?
Wal mushrikina?
Mushrikina. Good. Kina. There's a ya with a sukoon and the letter before has a kasra. These are all examples of mad asli. So it's just two counts. So you don't say wal mushrikina. You don't say wal ruhu. You don't say الذي يؤتي. It's just two. الذي يؤتي. All right, good. Is there any questions on this? All right, we'll go on to the next slide. Other mudud similar to med asli. Someone said, can you have the med as well as other rules in one word, such as doing sakina? Yes, you can. You can have multiple rules in one word. And you can think of examples. I can't think of anything off the top of my head. Or let me try to think. Lisanan, lisanan. So there's a med there, lisan, and then you're doing ghunna, you're doing ikhfa. So that's one example. But yeah, you can have words like that. And it's probably very common. All right, other mudud similar to med asli. All right, so remember we said mudud is a plural of med. Med is lengthening or prolonging, right? So mudud is a plural of that. So there are other meds or mudud similar to med asli. How are they similar? All of them are 2 vowel counts long. So remember we said med asli is 2 vowel counts. So these are not going to be med asli, but they are similar because they're 2 vowel counts. All right, and they're not. I'm not going to say that, but yeah, they're similar in the sense that they're all are 2 vowel counts long. All right, so there's 3 types of meds we're going to cover. The first one is med al-iwad. Med iwad, which means, we'll get into what it means after. Med silat al-sughra. Med silat al-sughra. And the last one, the letter alif in the following letters. Hayyun tahirun. We're going to explain that when we get to that slide. The first one is med iwad. So what is med iwad? Med iwad means the substitute med. All right, substitute med. All right, so we'll explain that. The rule, when you're stopping on fatha tanween, the fatha tanween becomes an alif. All right, so basically you substitute, hence the name substitute med. You substitute the fatha tanween with an alif, right? 2 vowel counts long. And this only happens when you stop on it. All right, for example, here is aliman. All right, aliman hakima. But if you stop on the word aliman, you're not going to say aliman. You're not going to say aliman. That's why they have an alif here. So because the alif you don't pronounce unless you stop. So they have an alif here to let you know that if you stop, you just read the alif. It'll be alima. So it won't be aliman anymore. But if you stop, alima. But if you continue, obviously, it will still be aliman. So someone read this example, ahadan. How would you read it if you stop?
Ahada.
Again?
Ahada.
Ahada. Good. So there's a med at the end of the word that wasn't originally there. So you substituted the tanween, ahadan. The tanween is gone and it becomes an alif. Ahada. It's 2 counts. So a lot of students, they'll say, what's an example? Inna Allah kana aliman hakima. All right, wrong. That's wrong. It's just 2 counts. Hakima. Because originally it's hakiman, but you're stopping on it, so it becomes hakima. Just 2 counts. Do not make it longer than 2 counts. All right. The next one, ma'an. If you stop, it'll be ma'a. All right, the n becomes an alif. If you stop on it. Here, du'a'an. This becomes du'a'a. Du'a'a. It's 2 counts. So you won't say du'a'a. All right, that's wrong. It's just going to be 2 counts. All right. So again, I'm going to reiterate the rule. When you stop on fatha tanween, I hope everyone knows what fatha tanween is right here. When there's 2 fathas, it makes the N sound. Right? When you stop on it, any word that where the last letter is fathatain, 2 fathas, the fathatain, the 2 fatha tanween will become an alif. All right, so you're not going to read the fatha tanween anymore. You'll read it as an alif, alima, and it's going to be 2 vowel counts long, and it's called the substitute med. Try to memorize all of these. It's called the substitute med because you're substituting you're substituting the tanween for an alif. All right, and there's one exception. It's not one exception, but there's an exception, which is that if you're stopping on a ta marbuta, all right, what's a ta marbuta? It's the ta that if you stop on it, it becomes a ha. All right, it looks like a ha with two dots. All right, but it's pronounced as a ta if you continue, and if you stop, it becomes a ha. For example, the word shajarah, if it's shajaratan, it has fathatain, two fatha tanween. If you stop on it, will it be how would you read it if you stop on this word?
شجرها
Huh?
شجرها.
No, not shajaraha. This is a good try though. So it's an exception. So it's not shajaraha. So his logic was it becomes a ha if you stop, but if there's fathatain, two fathas, then there's an alif. So he said shajaraha. That was a good attempt. Someone said, I'm not going to read their answer because he had the correct answer. Does anyone else know how do you read this if you stop? If you continue shajaratan, if you stop, how would you read this?
شجرة.
Shajarah. Does anyone disagree? All right, good. So why is it not shajarata or shajaraha? Why is it not read like that? This is an exception, right? If you stop on a ta marbuta, you do not replace it. It's not mad iwad. So you do not replace it with the alif. So you just say shajarah, right? وقالت imra'atan, it would be imra'ah. Shajarah, right? It would be shajaratan, it would be shajarah. You would pronounce the ta marbuta as a ha, right? It wouldn't follow the rule of becoming an alif. So anytime there's a ta marbuta, it's not just for this word, but anytime there's a ta marbuta with two fathas on it, it'll become a ha. It won't follow the original rule.
What if it was written in ta maftuha?
Then it's just shajara. So this med we're talking about is only for fatha tanween. You understand? So if it's just fatha, it's just going to become shajara. It follows the normal rule. It just becomes a ha. You understand? All right.
What if it was written as an open ta though?
Can you think of an example? If it's an open ta, then yeah, it will be alif. It'll become an alif. All right, good.
What about nabatan?
Nabatan, good. So nabatan, if you stop nabata, yeah, it will be alif. Nabata. So this is only for ta marbuta. All right, any questions? All right, we'll go on to the next slide. So that was med iwad, the substitute med. This med is called med as-sila as-sughra, silatu as-sughra. Now, what does it mean? It means the lesser connecting med. We're going to explain what that means. It's a med that occurs on the letter ha at the end of certain words. So this med only applies to the letter ha. All right, and it's going to be 2 vowel counts long. 2 counts long. All right, there's certain conditions though. It's not anytime there's a ha at the end of the word. It has to have certain conditions. The main condition is that the letter before it and the letter after it have to have a fatha, a dhamma, or a kasra. The letter before it or the letter after cannot have a sukoon. All right, there cannot be a sukoon before it or after. It has to have a fatha, dhamma, or a kasra. For example, minhu. Minhu, the noon there's a ha, and the noon before it has sukoon. So that wouldn't fall under this rule. That would not be considered this rule. So you wouldn't say minhu, you just say minhu. That would just be a dhamma, clear dhamma. Right? But this med, you extend it. It's going to be 2 counts. So you don't say in, for example, we're looking at this example. You don't say innahu. That's wrong. You extend it. Innahu. Innahu. Right? Because the letter before is not a sukoon and the letter after is not a sukoon. All right. The next one is that the ha is not followed by a hamza. So there can't be a hamza after. If it's a hamza after, it's a different kind of med. It's not considered this med. All right. The ha is voweled with either a dhamma or a kasra, not a fatha. Good. So it has to have a dhamma. The ha has to have a dhamma or a kasra. So look at these examples. The dhamma, the ha has a dhamma. Here the ha has a dhamma. Here the ha has a kasra. لِرَبِّهِ. If it has a fatha, I'm trying to think of an example. I can't think of anything right now, but that would not be a med. That would not be this med. It has to be a dhamma or a kasra. All right. So we can look at these examples. So there's a ha at the end of the word that has a dhamma. All right, good. It meets that condition. There's a letter before and after. Does it have a fatha, dhamma, or kasra? There's no sukuns before or after, basically. Yes, there's no sukuns before or after. Is there a hamza after? No. So this med would be med silat as-sughra. So you would say innahu. It's just 2 counts. Don't say innahu huwa. That's wrong. In Surah Buruj, innahu huwa yubdi'u wa yu'id. Why is that Tariq? I'm not sure. Right? It's just 2 counts. Innahu. Don't make it longer than that. Look at the next example.
Isn't that Surah Buruj?
Yeah, I think Buruj. Thank you, sir. So the next example, فَقَدَّرَهُ ثُمَّ. All right, فَقَدَّرَهُ. All right, look at the ha. It's at the end of the word. Good. Is there a dhamma or a kasra? Yes, there's a dhamma. Right? We're making sure it meets all these conditions. Is there sukoon before or after? No. Good. There cannot be sukoon before or after. After, there's a dhamma. Before, there's a fatha. Is there a hamza after? No. So then this would be med sila as-sughra, med as-sila as-sughra. فَقَدَّرَهُ ثُمَّ. So you wouldn't say فَقَدَّرَهُ. Remember, it's just 2 counts. And don't say فَقَدَّرَهُ. That would just be a dhamma. Who versus who. All right, so it's going to be 2 counts. The last example, in Surah Adiyat, لِرَبِّهِ لَكَنُودٍ. So the ha here is at the end of the word. All right, meets that condition. Next condition, does it have a kasra or a dhamma? Yes, it has a kasra. Is there a sukoon before or after? There's no sukoon after or before. So it meets that condition. Is there a hamza after? No. All right, so لِرَبِّهِ. All right, so you're going to extend it 2 counts. You wouldn't say لِرَبِّهِ لَكَنُودٍ. That's wrong. لِرَبِّهِ لَكَنُودٍ. It's going to be 2 vowel counts long. All right. Is there any questions with this?
In innahu huwa, isn't there a sukoon before it?
No. There's a fatha before it. So the noon is a shadda with a fatha. So remember, a shadda has sukoon. A shadda is basically there's 2 letters. So the first noon will have a sukoon, but the second noon has a fatha. So the letter before the ha is the noon with the fatha. Inna. Right? It's not inhu. It's inna. Innahu. All right, it has a fatha before it.
What about the second who?
The second, for which one?
This one.
For innahu, are you talking about that word?
Innahu huwa. Isn't there another who after the who?
No, this is just innahu. It would just be this ha is the only one. It has to be at the end of the word, remember. It can't be in the beginning of the word. So this ha here is just a dhamma. Huwa. It's not going to be huwa. Right? So innahu, it has to be at the end of the word. So just be this ha at the end. All right, you got it? Or are you still confused? All right, any other questions on this? No question. Okay, someone asked a question. What is the objective of the wow? The objective of the wow is a good question. It is to show you that it's a med. It's to show you that you're going to extend it. Because if you think about it, when you extend this ha, is basically a wow. Innahu. It's a ha and there's kind of a wow after it, but they just didn't write it. So they're writing this little wow to let you know that you're going to make it a med. So it's not going to be innahu. It'll be innahu. And you'll see this in the mushaf too. You'll see these little wows or these little yas. And that's to let you know that you're going to make it a med. All right. For people who don't know the rules, but you guys know the rules, so you shouldn't have to rely on that. But there is a wow here. It's going to let you know that you're going to extend it. So when you extend the dhamma, you're making it a wow sound. You're saying innahu. Right? فَقَدَّرَهُ لِرَبِّهِ. So لِرَبِّهِ is a ya. So when you extend the kasra, you make a ya sound. All right, good question. Any other questions on this? All right, we'll go on to the last slide. The last med we said, the letter alif in the following words, hayyun tahirun. All right, at the beginning of certain surahs. So certain surahs in the Quran, they start with letters. All right. I mean, obviously every surah starts with letters, but the first ayah is just letters that are read like this. So alif lam mim, sad, alif lam ra. These ayahs similar to this. Taha, tasin mim, tasin ha mim, etc. All right. This med we're not talking about the lam here or the mim. So lam mim, that's a different med. We're talking about, for example, let's take taha. All right. So if it's one of these letters, ha, ya, ta, ha, or ra. If it's one of these 5 letters, then you're going to make it 2 vowel counts. So for example, taha, the ta here is going to be read taha. It's 2 counts. The ta, you extend it, ta, and the ha, you extend it for 2 counts, ha. So you're not going to say taha. Because if you think about it, when you write out this word, the letter ta, when you write it out, it's a ta, and after there's an alif. The alif is med asli, right? So it's basically just 2 counts. Ta, ha. So the ta here, in ta, sin, mim, the ta is going to be 2 counts. Ta, sin. The sin and the mim are not 2 counts. That's a different rule. We won't cover that right now. But the ta, so if it's one of these letters, a ha, ya, ta, ha, or ra, one of these 5 letters, then you're going to make it 2 counts. All right, so ta again is one of those letters. So you're going to make it ta, sin. Right, ignore the sin and the meme for right now. The ta will be 2 counts. That's what I want you guys to pay attention to. All right, again, ta, sin. So you won't say ta. That's wrong. Just ta. All right, ya again is in one of the letters in hayyun tahirun. So memorize these letters. Hayyun tahirun, 5 letters. Ha, ya, ta, ha, ra. Yasin. So you won't say ya. That's wrong. It's just 2 counts. All right, sad, that would not be one of them because that's the letter sad. It's not one of these letters. Ha, mim. So the ha here, it's a ha. If you write it out again, if you write out the letter ha, sound it out. Ha. It's a ha and then alif after. All right, so if alif is a med letter, all right, so you're gonna make it 2 counts. Ha, mim. So you wouldn't make it longer. You wouldn't say ha. That's wrong. Just ha, mim. That's why here in the Mus'haf, they have the little med sign above the meme, right? To let you know that this meme is going to be long, but the ha, there's no med sign. Then you know it's just 2 counts. There's an alif in taha. Yeah, there's an alif, but you're just pronouncing these letters. So if I'm not mistaken, there's no haraka on it. I have to double check, but you're basically pronouncing the letter ta. So when you write out the letter ta, it's going to be taha. So when you write out the letter ta, it's going to be ta, and after it has an alif. Let me double check right now. So when they write it in the Quran, they just write it like this, a ta and the ha, but you're basically just pronouncing the letter. All right, but when you write out the letter ta, like I said, it's going to be a ta, and after there's an alif. All right, so because of that, you extend it. Ta, ha. All right, so you read it together. Ta, ha. All right, we look at this last example. Ha, mim. So again, there is a med sign above all the letters that you do med. So the mim, the ayn, the sin, and the qaf, you're going to make longer. The ha is just 2 counts. Ha. So you wouldn't say ha. It's just ha, mim. All right, we'll look at this example. Last example. Kaf, ha, ya, ayn, sad. So the kaf, the ayn, and the sad, you extend. The ha and the ya, you just make 2 counts. So the kaf and the ayn and the sad, you make longer. So you would read like this. Kaf, ha, ya, ayn, sad. So notice the ha and the ya, I did not extend that long. I just made it 2 counts because it's one of these letters. Hayyun tahirun. All right, so whenever one of these letters in the beginning of certain surahs, right? These surahs that we mentioned, and there might be more examples. You're just gonna make it 2 vowel counts long. All right, so that's why it's similar to med asli, because it's just 2 counts. All right, and you can tell in the mushaf, they'll make it easy for you. The ones that you extend, they'll put the little med sign above it. All right, but the ones that you will not extend, there's nothing on it. It's just the letters like taha, ha, ya, ta, ya, ha. All right, is there any questions on this? Any questions on anything we covered?
So that last one was madfari.
No. So we didn't cover med far'i yet. So these
Oh, okay. Sorry.
med far'i is in the next class. Let me make that clear.
Okay.
So the first thing we talked about was med asli, right? These other mudud, I have to double check. I'm not exactly sure, but if I'm not mistaken, they're not considered med far'i. They're similar, and I'm not sure if they're considered med asli either. I'll let you know, but they're not considered med far'i. All right. So med far'i, we're gonna cover in the next class. So med far'i, there's like 6 other mudud that fall under med far'i, but these 3 that we mentioned are not med far'i.
Okay, so this like the letters after alif, or the letter alif following those following letters falls under the other maduds similar to
Yeah,
mad asli.
exactly.
Okay, gotcha.
It might be considered med asli. I'm not sure, but I'll double check. Someone
Okay.
said, do the letters need the same pronunciation as hayyun tahirun, such as how the has kasra? No. That's just a phrase. Hayyun tahirun. It's just to help you memorize the letters. But he's basically saying the letters ha, ya, ta, ha, and ra. Those are the letters.
What was the question?
It's all right. So don't.
What was the question, Imran? That you said
He
you
said,
didn't know?
he was asking, are these 3 mudud, med iwad, med silatu sughra, and the letter alif and hayyun tahirun, are they considered med asli or med far'i or neither?
No. So they're not. No. That's why they're called other mudud similar to mad asli. So technically, they're not called mad tabi'i or asli. All right. They take the same ruling. All right. They take the same ruling, just like iqlab. Remember when we covered iqlab and ikhfa shafawi? Iqlab is different than ikhfa shafawi. The practical aspect is exactly the same. Min ba'di tarmihim bi. The tarmihim bi hijara is not called iqlab, and min ba'di is not called ikhfa shafawi. 2 different names, even though in reality you're doing the same thing. And practically you're doing the same thing. So same thing here. When you say, for example, ha mim, all right, ha, that's basically similar to mad tabi'i. Is it called mad tabi'i? No, it's not called mad tabi'i. Technically, it's not called mad tabi'i, but it does the same thing a mad tabi'i does. So that's why it's other mudud similar to mad asli, but they don't call it mad tabi'i. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So is it considered med far'i or no?
No. It's not mad far'i. It's not mad far'i either. Because if it was mad far'i, then they would have said it's mad far'i. So mad far'i would be anything that has hamza after it, sukun after it.
We didn't cover that yet. I don't want to confuse it. But yeah. Okay. So I hope that answered the question. Who asked that? I think Asif. So they're not considered med asli or med far'i, but they're similar to med asli in that they have the same rule, which is it's going to be 2 vowel counts now.
Gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense. Jazakallah.
Yeah. All right. Let me do a quick summary of everything we covered. So we talked about what is med, right? And I'm gonna ask you guys some questions before we leave to make sure everyone understands. So what is med? What is the definition of med? Who remembers?
Elongation.
Good, elongation, right? When you're prolonging or lengthening something. All right, what are the letters of med? We mentioned the letters of med. What are they? Someone else that didn't answer.
Wow, yeah, and alif.
Good, alif, waw, and yeah. So these are the only 3 letters that you can extend or prolong it. Good. All right. And then we said the types of med. There are 2 main types of med. What are they? Does anyone remember? What are the types of med?
Med صغير.
Med, no, that's not med saghir.
Mad asli and mad fara'i.
Good. Med asli and med far'i. And what do they mean? What does med asli mean?
It's the natural mad or
Good.
original.
It has another name. Do you know the other name?
Mad tabi'i.
طبيعي. Med
Tabi'i.
طبيعي. Good. So the original or the natural med? Med طبيعي. Which is what? What's the definition of med طبيعي?
I think that one's the natural one.
But what's the conditions? I mean, let me say that.
Oh, like how long do you hold it?
No, there's certain conditions. So what is med طبيعي? When is it med طبيعي? How do I know if it's med طبيعي?
The alif has to be preceded by a fatha. The waw has to be they all have to be sakin at first.
Yeah.
But alif has to be preceded by fatha, waw has to be preceded by dhamma, and preceded by kasra.
Good, excellent. So that would make it a med, right? For it to be a med with the med letters, the alif they all have to be sakin firstly, and the alif has to be preceded by a fatha, the waw by a dhamma, and the ya by a kasra, right? And then that's the condition for any med, right? But to be med asli specifically, we mentioned 4 more conditions, all right? And it's right here. No hamza before or after. That's 2 conditions. No before, no after. If there's a hamza before or there's a hamza after, it's no longer med asli. It's considered a different med. All right, this is a different med. Iman and ja'aka is not med asli. It's a different med, and we're gonna cover it next class. That's gonna be these are med far'i. I missed this definition for the second type of med, the one we didn't do this class. Which one? Are you talking about med far'i? We didn't. This is the first class we did med, so you didn't miss anything. Oh, you're talking about med far'i. Med far'i, it means secondary med. So secondary med. Med far'i is a secondary med. So we're gonna cover that next class. So it means secondary med. All right. Next condition, to be med asli, can I have a sukun after? So al-alamin has sukun. That would not be med asli anymore because it has a sukun. The last one, there cannot be a shadda after the letter of med. So here there's a shadda after the letter of med, so it's no longer med asli anymore, right? It becomes a different med. When one of these conditions, right, if there's a hamza before or hamza after, or there's a sukun after, or there's a shadda after, it changes into another med. It's no longer med asli. All right, and that's med tabi'i. And then we talked about 3 other mudud similar to med asli. All right, what were they? What were the 3 other mudud? Someone tell me one of them. Someone tell me one of the other mudud that we covered. Not med asli, but similar to it.
Mad al-iwad.
Med iwad. All right, good. Someone tell me another one. No one took notes?
صلة الصغرى.
Silatu sughra, and there's what? The other one is the alif and hayyun tahirun. Those letters. All right. And how are these? We said they're similar to med asli, but they're not med asli. How are they similar? What makes them similar?
I think it was the vowel counts.
Yes, they're similar because they're all 2 vowel counts. Someone asked a question. You mentioned them turning into another med. Are there situations in which it nullifies it from being a med completely? Let me try to understand this question. You mentioned them turning into another med. Are there situations in which it nullifies it from completely being a med? No, so it'll always be a med, right? But it can change into another med depending on the letter after. But if there's a fatha, as long as it meets this condition, there's an alif with a fatha before it. There's a waw with a dhamma before it, a waw sakina, and there's a ya sakina with a kasra before it. As long as that condition is met, it's going to be a med. All right. Any other questions? Or let's talk about those meds specifically. We said med iwad. He said it's the substitute med. And what's the rule for med iwad? Does someone remember? What is the rule for med iwad?
It's like when you stop at a fatha tanween, the fatha becomes the fatha tanween becomes an alif, except
Good.
for ta marbuta.
Excellent. All right, good. So for example, aliman, if you stop, becomes alima, 2 counts. All right, good. The next example, we said mad silatu sughra, which is when there is a what? Mad silatu sughra happens on only one letter. What is that letter? Someone remember?
Ha.
Good. Ha. The letter ha is the only letter you do mad silatu sughra. And there was a few conditions we mentioned. The main one, there's a few main ones, and it's not that hard. It has to be at the end of the word, obviously. It can only have a dhamma or a kasra, and the letters before and after cannot have sukoon. So if there's a sukoon before or after, it won't be a med anymore. Right? It wouldn't be considered mad silatu sughra. And this med is only going to be 2 vowel counts. All right. And the last, I'll go to that slide just so you can look at it one last time. So we mentioned these examples. إنه هو فقدره ثم لربه لكنود. And we mentioned in the Quran, you're going to see the little wow sign to note that it is a med. It's letting you know that you're going to extend it. Right? It's not just a dhamma. It's not فقدره. It's فقدره. Right? Because it's med silatu sughra. And لربه, there's a ya after it to let you know that you're going to extend it. لربه, he. All right. And the last med we mentioned, very quickly, the alif in the letters hayyun tahirun, in the letters ha, ya, ta, ha, and ra. So the letter ha, if you wrote it out, it would be ha alif. Right? The letter ya, if you wrote it out, ya alif. The letter ta, if you wrote it out, ta alif. The letter ha, if you wrote it out, ha alif. And the letter ra, if you wrote it out, ra alif. All right. So in these words, ha mim, the ha, the ta, the ha, the ya, these are all going to be 2 vowel counts long. All right. And that was it for today's lesson. Next class, we'll be going over med far'i and the different types. Is there any questions on anything we discussed?
I have a question.
No.
For instance, you have ana, and you see in the Quran a few times where it's not extended, like in Mad Asli to harakat.
Yeah.
Is that an exception? Is that a different rule? Like فَقَالَ أَنَا رَبُّكُمُ الْأَعْلَى.
So in that case, you don't pronounce the alif if you're continuing. So you say فَقَالَ أَنَا. But if you stop on it, you say فَقَالَ أَنَا. If you stop on it, you would pronounce the alif. That's an exception. There are other words like that, like ظُنُونَ. If you continue, or I guess that's the opposite. No, that is the same thing. ظُنُونَ. If you continue, you pronounce the alif. ظُنُونَ. But if you continue, ظُنُونَ هُنَالِكَ ابْتُلِيَ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ in Surah Ahzab. There's other examples, but certain letters, like for example in Surah Insan, قَوَارِيرَ, you only pronounce if you continue the first one, or if you stop on it, قَوَارِيرَ, the alif. But if you continue, قَوَارِيرَ, right, you don't pronounce alif. So same thing with ana. If you stop, you pronounce alif, ana. But if you continue, you say ana. You don't pronounce the alif.
Makes sense. Is that a particular rule or?
I think it's an exception.
Okay. Barakallahu
feek. Is there any other questions on anything? Something we covered from the previous class or today's class?
Sorry to keep on pestering you. Could you post the slides?
Yeah. I'll send them. Inshallah. Remind me after the class.
All right, I got you.
Any other questions for the area that we covered? Going once, going twice. I don't think there's any more questions. So we'll stop there, inshallah. Subhanakallah wa bihamdik wa nashhadu an la ilaha illa ant nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. There will be no class next Saturday. So the next class will be on the 25th in Ramadan, the first week of Ramadan, and that will be the last class. So next week there's no class, and we'll make an announcement to remind you. but just keep that in mind, inshallah. جزاكم الله خيرا والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام
وعليكم السلام
ورحمة
ورحمة
الله
الله
وبركاته.
وبركاته.